And we are live. There we are. Good evening, everybody. How are we? Oh, we already have my 13-year-old girl coming to say hello. My cat has decided to precariously hug on my computer, and I'm hoping she doesn't stand on anything. Can just see a very angry swishy tail in the the shadow that is casting over the figure at the moment. There we go. Right. Let's get on with the stream then, shall we? I'm going to be going in with Nagaroth Knight again, and just do another coat of purple, and then I'll go back in with another coat of Rakarth Flesh, and then after that we'll start any of the new parts today. I hope everybody is doing well, is having a good day. Picking the right brush. Once we have finished Belga the Cystwitch, we are going to be moving on to the Plague Prince himself, who every time I think of his name it's there in my head, and then the minute I actually think about it, it disappears. So it's Gelga's Pust, that's the word. That's the one. Hope everybody is feeling ready for the build up to Christmas now. If they aren't already ready for Christmas, I hope they are nearly ready. As myself, I'm quite heavily pregnant. My Christmas could look very, very different this year. Or it could be pretty chill. We'll find out. Because this is so full of holes, it was hard when I was doing it yesterday to figure out what parts were skin and what parts were fabric sometimes. Excuse me. far as Christmas meals, as far as like what we're eating on Christmas Day, has anybody else got anything different than just turkey? We have a maple gammon joint, personally, which I'm very much looking forward to having. This is the last weekend before Christmas, I believe. Incorrect. As soon as I went on maternity leave, I lost track of dates and days. Yeah, last weekend before Christmas. Only 6 days left. So hopefully everybody has their Christmas presents sorted and nobody's doing any last minute shopping this week. That's more so for your guys' sake, because I do not envy those who have not had the ability to get out until the last couple of days before Christmas to do their shopping, because it can be dreadful. And not that I think I have to remind anybody in this community, because everyone in this community is lovely, but remember to be kind to your people who are working in retail this time of year. Because I don't know what happens to people at this time of year, but suddenly people who all for the rest of the year are lovely, wonderful people suddenly become a whole different beast at Christmas time. And when it gets to January 1st again, it goes back to normal. It's very strange. Luca, are you in the Epstein files? Nope, definitely not. Thank you, though. No, I'm definitely not in the Epstein files. I'm wondering what they're going to release and when, though. Have you got any suspicions about who else is going to be in there anymore? Famous names that could shock anybody? Good to know. Yeah, I think it's good to know. Yeah. Do you have any celebrity suspicions? Who you think will show up and people will actually be shocked to find out they're in it? I do love this purple. The Cookie Monster. I mean, he's my childhood. That would be devastating. Time to go with some Rakoth Flesh and a bit more Abaddon Black, I think. We'll do Abaddon Black first, though, I think, which is the cauldron in the middle. Are you a subscriber to the channel, Luca, or did you just randomly see some Warhammer content and decide you wanted to hop in today? I've been reaching out and like, meeting lots of people from all different places at the moment. It's kind of good to know where people come from. Nice to know where people come from. Just a random real pull, so to speak. That's good, we have quite a lot of people like that. I'm gonna just pop in, but I'm gonna leave a sub. Thank you, that's very nice of you. I don't know if you guys can, I don't know if you can actually hear it, but my cat's running around my house going absolutely mental at the moment. It's hit that time of night where they get zoomies after eating their dinner. And I have hardwood flooring, so it doesn't sound like I've got cats, it sounds like I've got giant dogs just running around my living room. When in reality the biggest one only weighs 5 kilograms. But you wouldn't know from the sound, from hearing them. The cauldron all painted. Looking forward to the like making this all gory, to be honest. Obviously she is the Cystwitch, so I get to be really quite gross with this one. So I'm going to be using stuff like Carberg Crimson and stuff like that for solely just for the purpose of making it look extra gory. Which I think could be quite fun. I think, whilst the black dries, because I don't want to risk blending it in with the Rakar flesh and ruining it, I'm going to go ahead and paint all of the claws and like teeth on her. And for that, I think I'm going to use some Bugman's Glow, I think. A bit of Bugman's Glow, I think that would look quite good. Because these characters are so new, they don't have like a system for us to look at yet for colours, or when I last checked they didn't. So it's kind of like interpretation, and obviously with wet painting anything you can paint it however you prefer. But sometimes it's nice to have a colour guide to get some ideas for placement. Are you all done with your Christmas shopping now, Luca? Are you ready for the holiday season? Can't decide if I want to do these spines with this colour or something really gross, like a green or something. I think maybe I might do those with a green, because I think it'll make it look extra gory. I'm very plaguey, since this guy is obviously supposed to be, well, she's supposed to be part of Nurgle. So there has to be some gore in there. Has to be. Otherwise, what is the point in trying? It has to be gore. Kind of still missing a present for myself, haha. This is the thing, sometimes when you're out and doing all that shopping, sometimes you need to buy yourself a little something. Was there anything particular you're looking for yourself? Still eyeing that butter hose box from, ooh, MSBG, very nice. It's calling your name, has it, for a while? The Minas Tirith one. The Minas Tirith one is pretty impressive, to be honest. Yeah, the Middle-earth strategy battle game stuff, we've got so much stuff from it. The Minas Tirith stuff is beautiful. We recently got some of the Moria stuff, but there's the stuff I still need to paint, because we want to go through the book and do a bunch of the campaigns that are in there. Because we've got the Fellowship of the Ring, but the Moria goblins up until recently have been pretty much sold out. So we've just been holding off on doing anything to do with that. I'm focusing mostly on Kill Team, Warcry, and soon getting into the more of the 40k stuff. I've got so much of the Middle-earth stuff, so much of it. Love all the Lord of the Rings stuff. Sounds good. MSB is it's very comfy. It's very nostalgic for a lot of people. Deserves more love, in my opinion. But I adore anything Lord of the Rings, so I'm a little bit biased. Anything Middle-earth, anything Tolkien, I adore. Because I have another channel where I do fantasy lore, and on Fridays I do Warhammer lore, and on Mondays I do Tolkien lore. So it's definitely a subject I'm very passionate about. Did you get any of the Rohirrim stuff? Or show any interest in any of the Rohirrim stuff? This guy isn't finished yet, but we painted him the other day just before we started the Darkwater. So we've got Helmhammer Hand on horseback. So right now he's just in his base painting stage. He hasn't got any shading, any highlights or anything like that. But he will be finished off in future streams once I finish the Kill Team, not the Kill Team, the box, the Darkwater box. But that's Helm. He's pretty cool. I like him a lot. Do you have a favourite Lord of the Rings character or Middle-earth character specifically? Doesn't have to be from Fellowship, could be literally from anything. From the first all the way to the fourth age. Do you have a character in there that you like? There are a lot of good options. Nice, got the new warriors so far. Very nice. So, Faramir's amazing. He really is. Are you a Tolkien fan as far as the movies, or are you Tolkien fan and the games, obviously, or are you like a big reader of like the books and the lore as well? Because there's so many characters, obviously amazing lore. Although he needs a new mounting model, I agree. Some of them are pretty outdated now. Husband's favourite, the other half of this channel of Nerdy Miniatures Mr. Nerd, his is Glorfindel. He loves Glorfindel. It's his favourite character. And after that, it'd be probably like Prince Imrahil. The books, the movies, the games give me everything. I like your style. It's very much me too. Do you have a favourite age in Middle-earth? Yeah, Middle-earth is like anything Tolkien's my favourite thing in the world. I love it. I have a lot of respect as a character for Elrond. I do really like Elrond a lot. Again, he's got so much lore surrounding him and his backstory and being obviously very, very pivotal. So, between Elrond and Elros, it's like they are the beginning of many, many things. Right, move on to some Rakkar flesh, or back onto some Rakkar flesh. But I love the lore of Helm Hammerhand, who obviously I just shown before. Do you know much in regards to Helm Hammerhand, like his actual story outside of the Rohirrim movie? I had to answer the second age, I guess. Second age isn't, for me, I like the first age. And, like, well, I like the kind of the end of the first age, the beginning of the second age. But I do like the first age a lot. There's just so much lore there. It is hard to answer. It's a very hard one to answer. Because there's, obviously each one's got its own tragedies and stuff. And let's be honest, the first and second age especially are very tragic. But it makes it so interesting. But yeah, are you aware of like a lot of the lore surrounding like Helm Hammerhand? Outside of the Rohirrim stuff. Because I have to ask, some people, like, they will only kind of research where, up until they're obviously what they want to see. But then I get other people who are just, they'll do deep dives into everything. Obviously it's because of him that we have the Hornburg, and why it's called the Hornburg, and why Helm's Deep is called Helm's Deep. Because before that, the Hornburg was the Southburg. Which just means, like, basically south. Is it South Tower or South? I think it's like South Defence, something like that. Nope, I have to admit, I don't know much about him. So obviously, in the second Lord of the Rings, they're in Helm's Deep. So where they are is actually now referred to as Helm's Deep. The area around it is technically Helm's Deep, and the building they're in, the fortress they're in, is actually called the Hornburg, and both of which are named after Helm, because he's Helm Hammerhand, and he's known for obviously having hammer hands, basically beating people to death with his fists, and a horn that he used to blow. And obviously he's the last king of the first line of the kings of Rohan. It's a very tragic story, to be honest, but very much an inspirational character for what he then set up a chain of events through history in Middle-earth. In the film, where Gimli gets really, really excited to blow the horn in Helm's Deep, that is Helm Hammerhand's horn. So it's that the mouthpiece of it is mounted inside that massive tower. And that's why it's so significant to Gimli, especially. Do you have a favourite race in Middle-earth? I actually think I might paint these like a pinkish colour, the horns. That might be quite cool. Like a fleshy pinky colour. Maybe. I haven't fully decided. Cat a bit more Rakarth flesh. And in your opinion, in The Lord of the Rings, who is the true hero of The Lord of the Rings? Greetings, Uber Guy, how are you? Just finishing work, I presume? Off today. Nice. This gross girl is slowly coming together. It was hard yesterday painting her just because I didn't know what was fabric and what was her. So much taut fabric. How are you, Uber guy, anyway? Fine here, thanks. Good. Glad to hear it. I think it is time to move on to our bronzy colours in a moment. I'll touch on one more part that has a need for some purple. She's kind of like an oddly angled character, so it's quite hard to get into spaces. There we go. Random Amy fanboy. Hi, how are you? I decided, because in the pot this is actually like a gold colour in reference photos, but since she's part of Nurgle, I'm going in with greens, and I'm going to use some Tesseract Glow at one point. It's a technical paint, which is very, 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 very fun to use. But I'm just debating whether or not to go over white, or whether or not I go over a lime green to make it extra luminescent. I'll go in and do the gold pieces and stuff like that first. We'll have to think about that. What colour do I want your staff to be, mostly? There's a skull in the middle, so I'm going to quickly paint that with some Rackar flesh. Whilst I've got it out. I think this head could do with an extra coat of Rackar flesh before I go over it shortly with some Skeleton Horde. So random, are you like a big fan of Warhammer, or is this a case if you just randomly found a stream you want to join today? We're having a lot of that this week. It's really nice because getting lots of people from all different communities coming into it. Which faction is this for? So this is for the Darkwater box set, and these fall under Nurgle. So these guys are just ruled by Nurgle. So last week we did all the heroes, and then this week we're doing all of the villains. It's for the Warhammer Quest Darkwater box set. So this came out on the 13th of this month. We painted... I've been watching a lot of Warhammer and painting 4 kits of Krieg, Horses Infantry Command, and... Ooh, very nice. So last week we painted all of the heroes. This is Kel'Thuzor, the Prince of the Forest. And we painted the Enchantress. This big boy who I just have nicknamed Krampus, just because I feel like he's a Krampus-like looking character. Drolf and my husband decided to name him Steve Seven Axes. He just can't count. He just can't count too well. Whisper, who was a spirit. Jacobus Vine, the Jade Wizard. And I can't remember these whose names saved my life. None of their bases have been done because I'm going to be painting their bases separately. I just wasn't sure how I wanted their bases to look yet. So until I can be 100% sure of how I want them to look, I didn't want to go in and just do something random and then regret it. I think I'm going to go in with some Brass Scorpion for my metallics on this, my first bit of metallics. Do you have any specific areas of interest when it comes to Warhammer? Like, are you an Age of Sigmar guy? Are you a 40k guy? Middle Earth guy? Old World? Or is it a bit of a mix of everything? I think I'm more 40k, pretty fun. 40k is awesome. Painted Lionel Johnson last week, who is my favourite Primarch. Haven't played a game yet though, just waiting for the Combat Patrol to try it with my friends. If you're waiting for the Combat Patrol, who are you waiting for? Who is your chapter of choice? Mine is the Dark Angels. Or are you still deciding? I'm doing Imperial Guard, specifically Krieg. Fair enough. Very nice. I've ordered, just waiting for it to be delivered here. That's the hard part, the waiting game. Especially if you're excited about it and you want to play. This is a very nice bronze colour. I like this a lot. I think I'm going to use this for all of her metallics, actually. This was actually my first time building push-to-fit characters. Because normally, Mr. Nerd, the other half of this channel, he does all the building and I do the painting. Even though he is a very, very good painter. It's actually my first time experiencing push-to-fit ones. There we go. That's bringing it together nicely. So many like layers to it. I'm like making sure I don't miss any. think the bronze and purple work really well together. What's good technical paint for like dust or dirt? I found that Armageddon Dust is in the starter set and tried it, but I wonder if there are more. I haven't really tried that much experience with technical paints for dust or dirt. I use Stirland Mud for a base of dirt, which is really good base paint. And then I tend to use dry brushing to obviously amplify that and add layering and textures. So I use this one. Technical paint, Stirland Mud. And it's essentially like a grit based paint where it has like essentially like molecules of essentially dust or dirt in it. And then over that, I would then dry brush it with various layers of brown, or maybe even some paler colours like Karak stone and stuff like that. If I wanted to kind of make it look a little bit more like dried out. So that's the only one I can really recommend, because other than that, I've done ice, I've done mud, and I've done fire or lava. Those are kind of the experience I've had so far. And obviously the one that you've got, Armageddon Dust, is that like a sandy kind of style one? What kind of effect does that give? Is it more of like a neutral toned? So up in total, there are only 21 technical paints in the entire Citadel collection. Oh, I've used Astro Granite. That one's quite good if you want to make like a concretey look. Maybe try Argrellan Earth. That might be good for you. And that creates a realistic cracked earth effect. So that might be what you're looking for. No, so that's the one I want to try. I do love the technical paints. Just going to go in with some contrast paint now whilst that bronze dries, and just do the skulls. This is the contrast paint Skeleton Horde, which I could just go over this by itself, but I would prefer with this one to go with the neutral toned base underneath. Thing is, I'm filling in this scar. I have a feeling I'm going to end up tidying it up later once I actually fill in this pot. There we go. The annoying thing whenever I spray figures, they can completely fine, and then it's not until it's dry where it's like a random hair stuck in it, like a cat hair or something. So just dug that out before I start painting the hat that she's got on. I'm going to do some purple touch-ups first, and then I'll go in and do her hat. This character will benefit from some dry brushing, because there's just so many creases and stuff. I think she'll benefit from some. This is still Brass Scorpion, by the way. Okay. Really struggling to decide what colour I want to do the spines. Because this is going to be bright green. I don't know if I want to go in with green on the rest. You know what, I'll go in with the same colour I was going in for the spikes as well, which is Bugman's Glow. Obviously, you're asking about like dust and dirt based technical paints. What are you working on at the moment that you want to use that as a base for? Or looking at starting soon that you want that as a base for? These little spines are all over this character. If you guys are also looking for advice as well, down in the description you are going to find a link to our Discord server. And we have a channel there for these kinds of questions. And there's obviously lots of people in there, or a few people in there, who are more experienced in this than I am. And they might be able to also offer some helpful tips and advice and inspiration. She's got to do her horns and her staff, the pole of her staff. And then I think that's it. And then after that I can start moving on to shading. Obviously do the bowl of poison as well. Little drink break firstly. Okay. I think I will do moot green as the base, and I think I'll do technical tesseract glow over the top. And then I'll do the browns whilst that dries. And then I can move on to shading. Moot green is actually one of my favourite colours. It's just a vibrant green. I'm tempted even further, once this is dry, to go over the top of this technical paint with Ard coat as well, which is essentially a clear coat, and it makes things look wet. So I use it if I use like blood for the blood god and I want to create a damp effect or anything like that, if I want to create ice. But since this is a liquid pouring out of here, poison, it might be nice to have it be a little bit shiny. Yeah, I definitely think moot green was the right decision for that pot. Not to mention the green and the purple look really good together. Are any of you guys interested in Dawn of War? New Dawn of War coming out this year. No, next year. I'm going to go in with Gortha Brown for the antlers on her helmet. Let's just realize there's some more jewellery up here, so I'll quickly fill that in first. Does anyone have any favourite techniques when it comes to painting? Like any, or even like techniques or like stages? Do they base painting the most? Shading, contrast? Is there a specific area that every time you do it, it just kind of makes you feel like, yep, that character's now coming together the way I wanted it to? Maybe use that for the base of the staff as well. And then also for the stick that she's got in her hands. To stir the toxic mess that she's created. There we go. Getting there. I think that looks pretty good. Pretty happy with Belga the Cystwitch so far. Just having a look on the Warhammer website to have a look at the colour scheme they use for her skin tone. Just to kind of get an idea of what contrast paint I want to, not contrast, what shade paint I want to go in with first. And she's covered in sores and stuff like that, so I think I might use some green on her skin as well. give her some green eyes. And then to bring out certain details in her skin tone. She's got like a bunch of, obviously she is the Cystwitch, so she's got a bunch of cysts on her that I kind of want to be filling in. I think I'll do the cysts first. And then when I apply the technical paint, not the technical paint, the shade paint over the top, it'll make them look extra gross. Which one do I want to go out with? I've been going with Cadian Flesh Tone for the cysts. She has just like lots of tiny pustules all over her skin. And these will be highlighted after. I want a thinner brush than that even. This one will do. And then I'm literally dipping the tiniest amount of product onto this so I have the maximum control of the brush. Because it's such a small job doing these little cysts. Because they are very tiny. Same with doing eyes almost, you have to really like almost hold your breath and concentrate a little bit. Of course, once we go over with some red shade paint, it'll make these look extra gross. But we'll try and get it to focus. And just these little pustules, almost like little pimples all over the skin. She's got it on her skin as well, so I'll do the same for her. There's all the cysts done now. So just have the stick that she's holding to stir with, I think. Yeah. And then I start going in with some shade paints. Can't forget this stick. Can't forget the cauldron stirry stick. Normally I go with technical paints right at the very end, but I will go in with technical paint in a moment on that sludge, just because Tesseract Glow can take a little while to dry, from my experience. we go. That's a stirry stick, also painted. Now for some Tesseract Glow. And then we can start with shade paints, which I'm going to use 3 predominantly. And they are Druchii Violet, Carabag Crimson, and then where are you hiding? Where's that green one hiding? Coelia green shade. I'll also go in, I think, with some Targor Rage shade, which is like a purpley grey colour. So I think those 4 together will be the best paints to use shade-wise for this character. If you see what I mean, it kind of makes that sludge look extra toxic. And I'll go in with some highlights on top of that once that's dry with some white and mood green mixed, just to kind of add a little bit of subtlety and dimension and shift in colour. I think I'll go over everything with Targor Rage shade first. Because this will create a nice purpley grey hue to the skin and to the figure. And then I can start going in with Druchii and Coelia in particular, and almost like dotting it around randomly to kind of make it look like there's like areas of rot and areas of sludge kind of coming out of this character. But this will help to get into all the crevices. Shade painting is my favourite section of doing a figure. Only got Targor Rage shade pretty recently. I can't remember what project I was using it for, but I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I love it. And I love Nuln Oil normally, so it's nice to have an alternative. Remember, whenever you're using any shade paint or contrast paint, it's designed to obviously sink into the crevices and bring out that detail. If you don't want a product to sit there whilst it's still wet, get a brush, dip it in some water and blot off any excess water so it's not too damp, and just and then place it over the product or over the area where you've kind of applied too much product, and it should suck some of that up. And that way then it prevents you from having any areas that you've oversaturated. I might even get to go and give this another technical paint, you know, and go in with blood for the blood god on the eyes, because it looked like this character, she was a high priestess, and she has been kind of morphed with two of her sisters. So you've got one sister here and one sister in the middle, and then she's here. And the sisters seem to have some red eyes. So I might go over the eyes with blood for the blood god on them, just for a little bit of change, a little something different. But like I said, because this is like a purpley grey colour, it will kind of add that grey scale into the skin without taking away from any of the boils or anything like that I've added, and create a slight purplish hue to them as well at the same time. So it's good that way. And now just down the spines. Whilst that dries, I'll move on to the purple elements now, which I'm actually tempted to, I can't decide whether or not I want to go over that with Druchii Violet or whether or not I want to go over that with Carabug Crimson. In fact, I might even not do either and go over it with a contrast paint and go over it with a burgundy colour, just to make it more of a purpley burgundy colour. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'm going to go in with Sigvold Burgundy. Now, this paint is extremely strong, considering that it's a water-based paint. It's very, very pigmented. So I do have to be very, very careful with this, because if this runs everywhere, it can make quite a mess. So I'm just going to decant a little bit onto my wet palette, so my brush isn't oversaturated. And then start brushing that over the purple elements. Yeah, that's exactly the colour I want it to have. It's just like a purpley reddish hue. That's exactly the colour payoff I wanted. It'd be very important after doing this to go in and add highlights. those who don't know, a contrast paint is essentially your base, shade and highlight all in one. If you have like a big army that you need to paint quite rapidly, where you just kind of want to get a colour on it and then just add some highlights or fine-tune details, you can use stuff like this, a contrast paint, and that will do a lot of the work for you. And then you can just go in afterwards and say dry brush and go in and do after that maybe some highlighting just to further amplify certain details. Definitely certain areas I'm going to have to go back in with some rack off first just to clean up. Yeah. Right, tiny brush. Because Sigvold Burgundy over Rakar Flesh does go more of like a pinky red colour. Very good to know for future projects, but it's not what I want to use for this. So, tiny clean up with a little bit of product just to kind of do that. Right, now I need my smallest brush. And again, and Carroburg Crimson to go over the boils, just to make them look extra inflamed. And then I'm going to just use the Druchii and the Coelia just to kind of add that in areas. So again, Carroburg Crimson. And you don't have to be like too particular about this, because, you know, all this red's going to do in certain areas is just make the skin look more inflamed, more sore. And after all, she's supposed to be covered in boils and cysts, so I'd imagine her skin would be quite sore in many places, actually. No wonder she's so grumpy. Now I'm just kind of stippling it in certain areas. I'm going to do the exact same thing now with the Druchii Violet and the Coelia Green Shade. The biggest taste I wish was a Skaven. Why? Why do you wish you were a Skaven? Aside from obviously being potentially your favourite army. I'm going to go in with the Coelia Green Shade first. Just being a rat would, and being a rat but like evil is so chill. I mean, yeah, pretty much. They wake up, do evil things, go to bed. How are you, the biggest tasty? Are you doing okay today? As this thing is basically a giant slug, I'm just kind of using greens and purples and reds to kind of make it look infected and sore and gross. Because after all, this thing is Nurgle. Hit some Bretonning with I'm cheese to meet you before Robin bloke blind. What part of the world are you from then, lovely? Are you from the UK or somewhere else? Now for some Druchii Violet. This will kind of help make areas look a bit more infected and gross. I'm Canadian. Just got into the hobby over the last year. More into 40k side of things, but Sigmar/Fantasy seems fun and marginally less toxic. We do both. We do all of it actually here. So over the last few weeks, we've been doing a combination of... Last week we did 40k where I painted Lionel Johnson, who I will show you now. He's the leading Primarch of the Dark Angels, which is my preferred faction. So this was done last week. And then on the 13th, this is the Warhammer Quest Darkwater set that came out on the 13th of this month. Focus. Hello. There we go. So we're doing this until all of these figures are complete, and then we'll be doing some gameplay. We do gameplay of Warcry, we'll be doing gameplay of Kill Team, this Darkwater when we've completed all the characters. Eventually we do some Middle-earth stuff. We did this is just the base paint. He hasn't had anything done to him after the base paint yet. The base paint of Helm Hammerhand from the Middle-earth strategy battle game series that they do. So yeah, when I say we do everything here. So there's something for everybody. And in the new year, we'll be starting Combat Patrol, where I'll be painting my Blood Angels, not my Bungeons, my Dark Angels. The Lion is such a handsome fella, I love him. I've built 3 armies thus far. Black Templars, amazing, Krieg, and World Eaters. Total money spent, oh yeah, 100%, but worth it, in my opinion. We're having a big old conversation yesterday about the Black Templars, actually. Lion is a very handsome fellow, I agree with you. Even in his geriatric age, he is, well, he's now like technically the oldest. And probably potentially the grumpiest of the Primarchs. But not that I blame him. The bloke's been asleep for 10,000 years, just woke up and realised the world's gone to pot anyway. So he's probably just sat there going, really? You woke me up for this? But there was like a conversation where people were going, based off of not necessarily strength or anything like that, but purely based off skill, that after Sanguinius, the Lion is actually the strongest Primarch. And then Horus is third. Just because of him as a well-rounded character specifically. But obviously that's 40k Lion in his geriatric age. But in the new year I will also be painting the Horus Heresy version, so the version of him from 10,000 years ago. So he'll be much younger, but still just as handsome. Sorry, just having to stop for a second because I have an adorable cat next to me who's wanting some attention. I have 4 cats in my house, one of which is a 13-year-old girl, and she is just being very needy at the moment and wants some love. Pretty happy with that shade stage, actually. I love old cats so much. They are, the thing is, I would pick her up and show her to you, but she'd probably murder me in my sleep. She's that kind of cat. She's a female ginger, which are already really rare. Only 20% of cats of ginger cats are female, so she's already a little rarity. She only weighs 4 kilograms, which is about, I think it's like 8 pounds. No, not even 8 pounds. Yeah, something around there. So she really doesn't weigh a lot. She's very, very little. And she is a force to be reckoned with, but she's got juttery teeth that stick out, and she has little white furs that go through her little eyebrows now, and she is, doesn't matter how old she gets, she's still baby. Like, that's the thing about cats, no matter how old they get, they are still just a baby. And that's very much the case of what's going on right now. She's just staring at me going, "Mother, I demand attention, and you will give it to me." And again, if I refuse her, she may try and murder me in my sleep, so we're not going to ignore the queen of the household. The real queen of this house isn't me, it's her. Down in the description of this video, or this stream, we have a Discord channel. I will share a picture of her in the Discord channel, so if you do want to see her, and then pictures of the other 3 we've got, because I've got a ragdoll, I have a Scottish Fold cross, and we have a ginger boy. So if you guys want to see any cat photos, as well as Warhammer memes and all that stuff, then go ahead and join that, and we'll share it in there. My oldest lived to the ripe old age of 22, 23, just a sleek black cat. She would get comfy on you before farting and running away. Absolute goof of an animal. She was wonderful. She sounds it. The oldest cat we had lived to the age of 18, and she was again a black cat, lovely black cat with gorgeous, gorgeous green eyes. And in her old age, she didn't have the best eyesight. So at night she couldn't really see, and she was slightly senile by the end of it. So in the middle of the night you'd wake up to her yowling around the house because she forgot where she was and the fact she couldn't see very well in the dark made it worse. You'd have to go and find her and bring her to bed and be like, we're here, and then she'd kind of go, okay, yeah, I remember now, and she'd wander off to bed after that. But every now and then you just have to go and get her and remind her that she was in fact safe, and you were in fact in the house. And but yeah, she was wonderful. But the fact is, this cat, this 13-year-old, she's the smallest of my 4 cats, the only girl of my 4 cats, and she rules the house, 100%. The other 3 know it. They cannot get away with anything. If they try, she will slap them, and then they kind of go, right, I deserved that. As she should. Are you just a big animal fan, or are you a big cat lover, specifically? My cat Goose is similar with the yowling at night. Usually she's just looking for food. She's a hefty girl. I like that. Yeah, we have, out of the 4, the 9-month-old, which is the ginger boy, he's just a scavenger when it comes to food. So if the others leave anything, he eats it all. So I'm taking him to the vet, like, he's a little bit overweight. Have you tried separating the food and putting him elsewhere in the house? It will not matter. Like, he will find the food. I'm a big into animals. I currently have 2 cats, a dog, axolotls, and a parrot. It's never dull. That's amazing. We are actually very interested in getting an axolotl ourselves in the future, but I'm currently 38 weeks pregnant, so I'm about to have a baby literally any day at the moment. So I've been streaming every single day, and people have basically told people the minute the streaming stops, it's either because I've gone into labour or my child has been born. So I'm in that weird middle ground right now where he could be born tomorrow or he could be born in 2 weeks. It's that weird little middle ground. But in the future down the line, we do want to get an axolotl. But at the moment, we do have 4 cats, so it's not a dull household for us either. Recently, I've had to get up and stop a few streams because the other day, my 9-month-old knocked my water all over my desk, and it was slowly swimming towards my laptop and all my electrics. So I had to very quickly get up and fix that. And then the other time, I had to get my ragdoll out of our Christmas tree because he decided he wanted to climb it. And the thing is, he doesn't normally do that, but hey, like we said, never a dull moment. I'm going to go in and start adding some details like highlights now, just because shade-wise, I'm pretty happy with how that looks now. Looks pretty gross, pretty grimy. And I am going to go over this with Ardcoat, I think I've decided, just because I want to make it look extra wet. What are your animals' names? I must know. So I know you've got Goose. Who else do you have? Axolotls are very easy to care for and careful with, and best of luck with the pregnancy. That must be super exciting. It is. We are very excited. So at the moment, we're just playing the waiting game. Oh, the 13-year-old girl's just jumped up next to me. She's like, you're talking about other animals. I'm disgusted. How dare you? And I've got Goose, Piper, Callie, and Penny. Great names. So the 13-year-old girl is called Boo. Then we've got Tidus, Riku, and Sid. So most of them are named after Final Fantasy characters. And Boo is my cat that I had before I met my husband. So she has been in my life for the entirety of her 13 years. and she is very much like my soul cat. As an animal, between her and my ragdoll, those two are just phenomenal. I love them very much. I love them all, but those two in particular have made quite the impression on my heart. I'm going to go in with some Ardcoat now, just over the toxic sludge, just to make it look wet, so as this dries, it will make it look glossy. Same way you would if you were to apply like a PVA glue. And it just helps to make this look like it's wet and actually pooling. And whilst that dries, I'll then move on to highlights. Are there any specific breeds for cats, whether like gingers or any specific types? Like Sid, our boy, he is the stereotypical orange cat where he has no brain cells. He's just happy to be alive every day when he wakes up. That's just Sid to a T. And in many ways, that's why the name Sid suits him so much. We've got 3 boys and a girl, though. It's a very male-dominated household, this house. Even our child is a little boy, so it's a very male-dominated house. My soul cat would have been my brown tabby Jack. My parents got him as a kitten when I was a few months old. We have pictures of him biting my diaper and hanging from it. He lived to 18. That's a good age. It's a very good age. This is the thing, like when you say to people that you've got a soul cat when you've got other animals, people are like, you can't say that. No, you can. It's just their personalities blend with yours in a way that's just, you know, unmatched. And it's just phenomenal. What I will do, though, because I can't get a photo of her, I will do this. So this was her the other day, just sat next to me whilst I was streaming. So this is my 13-year-old girl. There's always one that just clicks. Sometimes there's more than one, but bare minimum there is always one. If you're an animal lover, there is always at least one that just melts your heart and just never lets go. They're always there. And then this is the other one that I was saying was my other soul cat. This is the ragdoll. This is Titus. And him just being absolutely obsessed with the Christmas tree. But my 13-year-old doesn't look 13. She's one of those cats that's just seems to have never aged in the best way. And she's, speaking of which, she's currently having zoomies around the house, so she definitely doesn't think she's aged. I'm going to go in with some Mechanicus Standard Grey to highlight the black now, and then I'll move on to highlighting the purples. Riri is the one. Got to love the cat Riku. So, Rothmer Gaming, ahoy all, that is my other half. That is Mr. Nerd. So, and Riri is 100% his soul cat. Like, that cat in him are just so close. Similar to my gal Piper, she hasn't changed at all in probably 10 years now. No, I think they just get to a certain stage and they're like, right, that's me. I'm done aging. And then towards the end of their life, they suddenly start getting all these grey hairs. And you're like, when did that happen? Just using this grey as a subtle highlight because I don't want it to be too bright on the cauldron. Because the cauldron's already got a lot of detail going on with it because of the sludge. But Riku, aka Riri, is, yeah, he's got the personality of 10 cats, I swear. He's remarkable in the best way. To kind of give you an impression, this is that said cat underneath the Christmas tree, looking like he's up to something. That doesn't shout, I've got a little bit of a mischievous personality, I don't know what does. The cauldron's looking awesome, thank you. So I've gone over it with Moot Green, Tesseract Glow, and now, because that's dried, and I wanted to make it look wet, I've gone in with Ard Coat. So that is drying now, just to make it look extra slimy. I think because these characters are quite a bit bigger than the heroes, I miscount like kind of how long it takes me to do something, and I'm like, eh. But it does look very, very cool. To be honest, the whole witch is looking pretty awesome, to be honest. I think I'm going to go over her randomly with Tesseract Glow and just add little glowy parts to her as well. Gotta love cats, they're little menaces. My sister has an orange girl that got into her ceiling, still don't know how. That is a mystery. And the question is, has she done it since? Or is it just the one time that it's been done? Does your axolotl have a name? Or axolotls? I'm just gonna head and, if it focuses, in her eyes I've just put a little bit of green, of Moot Green. It's always orange cats, and it was a singular occurrence. Probably because she did it, was surprised she did it, scared herself and didn't want to do it again. But that makes it even worse, almost. Brian and Clarence, fantastic axolotl names. Absolutely fabulous. I'm personally a fan, if I'm going to get one, I'm personally a fan of the name Bernard. Mr. Nerd likes Axel. And a few other names. This just drips on the skull here. So I'm just going to do those with some Moot Green as well. There we go. My brother-in-law wants a chihuahua called Titus. Stellar name. Again, it's one of those dogs that will live up to the name because he will think he's big enough to be called Titus, when in reality he's the size of a slipper. But he will think he's the size of a Rottweiler. We're just going down the big dive of animal names, Mr. Nerd. Because Boo Boo decided that she wanted attention and decided to jump up and interrupt me. Right, gonna go with some purple highlights now. And for that, I'm going to go in with Xeris Purple. I feel like I can go even lighter with this actually. But this is a good starting highlight shade because it'll just add a little bit of dimension before I go with something really, really bright. Have you got any Warhammer projects that you're working on in the new year then? The biggest tasty, sorry. Or just having fun with it and seeing what kind of comes out at the moment? I'm going to go with June Stealer Purple. Further amplify those highlights. It's just a couple shades lighter than the one I've just applied. But still quite vibrant. What I'm doing is essentially just edge highlighting. Just to kind of subtly bring the colour in without being too overpowering. So this is quite a busy character anyway. She has a lot going on. There we go. She's got like a few tears and stuff obviously in her outfit, so I'm focusing a lot of the highlight on those torn pieces more so, just to kind of amplify them and obviously make them stand out against it. But you can see where I've added those highlights on like the sister down here. It just makes it look a little bit more dimensional. The highlights are helping make the model pop. Thank you. I think so. Just kind of amplifies her, because I'd end up going over her colours with a contrast paint, because the purple was lovely, but I wanted it to have more of a deeper hue to it, so I went over it with Sigvold Burgundy, and then that over the top just really amplified the richness of the cape and of the material. As you can see now, that toxic sludge that she's made is more or less dry, so that's looking quite wet now. So that's looking pretty good. Now we're going to some highlights on the worm, because lots of details, lots of like wrinkles and stuff that I can bring out. Her skin, oh, throw the thing, I don't know. For her skin, I've kept it pretty neutral and gone over that with the contrast paint Targor Raid shade, which is a brown, a greyish purple. And then wherever she's got boils, I've gone over and added reds and purples just to make her skin look extra raw and sore. So now the only thing really left to highlight is the bowl of sludge and the worm part of her body, which I shall do now. Which for the highlight for that, I'm going to use Ulthuan Grey. And I might mix a tiny bit of the actual base colour in with it, just to make it more of a skin tony colour. I'll do a little practice highlight first and then see if I like it, and if I don't, I will add a tiny bit of Carrick Stone to it. No, Rakarth Flesh. I actually think I quite like the grey. It's just subtle enough that it's not going to draw your eye to it too much, but then once it's all complete, will really bring it all together. The grey is really nice as a highlight. Thank you. I just think overall these little wormy dealy parts, it works really, really well. And I think over the neutral tone and then with the greyish shade paint, kind of just brings that grey scale into it a bit better. It's a very wriggly thing, so there's lots of little areas I can amplify with this grey. And I think I'm just going to touch up the tips of her fingers with this as well. And just a few sort of highlights to the skin. You and the model have almost identical hands, JK. I would hope so. Thank you very much. Mr. Nerd. But yeah, I think obviously I can't really have a favourite yet because I've only just, this is the only one I've done for the evil side, but she is really cool. She's really, really cool and I like her a lot. She has some jewellery here with the symbol of Nurgle in it, so I'm just going to dot some of the moot green into her necklace around her neck. And then she has these little like discs essentially either side of her head. I'm gonna add the green to that too as well, I think. The cauldron is on point. Yeah, I'm really happy with the cauldron. I'm very happy I decided to go with green because in the original design it's gold. But she's supposed to throw like toxins and poisons onto the heroes and onto the land. So it makes sense to me to do moot green. And she has a little swirl in the middle of her headpiece, so I've just added the green to that as well. Let's go in with some greeny white mix to highlight some parts inside the, because she's got some bubbles just inside the cauldron. I'm going to highlight that with a mixture of moot green and white just to kind of make them stand out a bit more. And I might go over the top of those with a little more ard coat just to make sure they still look wet. So I applied the ard coat and was like, I should probably have highlighted that first and then done the ard coat. But I can apply another layer, it's not the end of the world. I just need the colour to be slightly brighter than just moot green, essentially. More hard coat, more shiny. Exactly. Can't lose. But this, to be honest, this is the most fun I've had with a character. I've loved them all, but my favourite for the heroes was Jacobus. Like, just because I think I love the green scheme, clearly. Like, he was my favourite of the heroes to paint. Really simplistic design. Really, really enjoyed him. And I've loved painting like the plague marines and stuff like that recently, so being able to use all the kind of gory colours, it makes me very happy. So I think I'm going to have a lot of fun painting the evil side of this set. A lot of fun. You can just see. How did Steve's 7-axis turn out? I shall show you again in a moment. Look at just that little tiny touch of greenish white. Look what it did to it. It just amplified those bubbles, made them stand out a little bit more. And I'm going to go over a couple of the edges in a moment, but I shall show you Steve's 7-axis first. His name is Drolf. I can't remember his surname now. But we say he looks like a Steve, so he's Drolf 7-axis. But he turned out rather cool. His highlight on his axe especially is one of my favourite parts. But he was really, really fun. I did some very subtle highlights on his backpack. But I think, to be honest, he's probably my second favourite of the heroes. But that's Steve's 7-axis. The story was what? Steve's 7-axis, but he doesn't know how to count all that good. Yeah, he is what the kids say, Pog. I still don't know what that means. I didn't look it up either afterwards. I completely forgot about it, and now you said it again. I'm like, why did I not look that up? What does that mean? There we go. Just a few highlights inside the cauldron. I think that's really finished it off. So I just need to add some hard coat. And I think we'll actually leave it there. So I'll edit the title so obviously no one comes in looking for the prince and it's just Belga. But it's taken me 2 hours to finish her off, shade and highlight her. And I'm very, very proud of how she is. I'd rather do one character a day of these guys and make them look this good. Then do more than one and then rush things and regret it. But she's very, very cool. So more art coat and then we'll wrap up the stream. There we go. So when that dries, that will dry completely clear and that will make that look extra slimy. But that is Belga the Cystwitch. With all her highlights, shading, everything done on her. And of course her very cool cauldron. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with her. Very, very happy with how she turned out. She's really cool. Well done. Thank you very much. So we'll leave it there for tonight, guys. So thank you very much for tuning in and watching. Thank you to literally, I think everybody who tuned in today was a newbie. So thank you very much everybody who's joined us, who's kind of found our little corner of the internet. So that's Luca, that's Uber Guy, obviously thank you for popping in, Random Amy Fanboy, and The Biggest Tasty, and of course, Rothmer, aka Mr. Nerd. So thank you everybody for tuning in and watching the stream today. It's really, really greatly appreciated. And it's been nice to have some new faces. So hopefully you guys subscribe to the channel and you come back for more of this tomorrow, because we'll be streaming more tomorrow. So have a wonderful evening, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, if depending on what time of day it is for you guys. And we will see you tomorrow. So bye for now, guys.